Kathy Champion, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the United States, and I reside in the state of North Carolina. Welcome to my channel, and welcome to Kathy's Random Acts of Stamping. What we're going to do today, I'm going to go over a few things that are just little housekeeping items, things like that. Everything that you're going to see today will be posted in the description below. Also, I will post a link to my blog where you can go there. You can find the picture of the project, you can find the video, and also a list of all the items that I used to make the project. So, and this right here is September's host code. So if you place an order of $50 or more during the month of September and use this host code, when you check out, there will be a place for you to enter the host code. And when you do that, you will receive a free gift from me at the end of the month. They're usually mailed out the first week of the following month. So in this case, the first week of October. So that is getting along with that. I'm going to move this out of the way. This host code will also be on my blog as well as in the description. So let's get that out of our way. So we have plenty of room here to do our stamping and our creating. I'm going to bring in some cardstock, and I'm going to make a birthday card today because I need a birthday card. And I think this this paper right here is Designer Series paper, Flowers for Every Season. And this is, actually I have 2 packs of it because I fell in love with it so much I got an extra pack. But it is beautiful paper. It comes in a 6x6. There is just bukus of paper in here. But I chose these 2 today. And why I pulled out both of them, I'm not sure exactly yet how much I'm going to need. So, but I did want to go over the products I'm going to use. So this is the beautiful Flowers for Every Season. And I've got a piece of Whisper White Thick. I have a piece of Daffodil Delight, and also a piece of Just Jade. And if you notice, these colors coordinate beautifully with this paper. See how pretty that is together? Because it pulls in all those different colors. So I'm going to lay this to the side just for a moment, and I'm going to show you some of the other items that we're going to be using. My featured stamp set, or bundle I should say, is the Prize Peony. And this is a beautiful stamp set, and the dies for this are gorgeous. Not only do you get the dies that will cut out your different flowers and your leaves, but you get this builder set over here that actually builds a 3D peony, and we will be making that today. So I think that'll be a lot of fun and just really great. This is also going to be a fun fold card. So it's going to be a lot of fun creating this card. I have a couple of embossing folders. The Dainty Diamonds. This embossing folder is gorgeous. I don't know if you are seeing. I think it's picking up on it with my hand behind it. That is so pretty. So we will be using that. And I'm going to be using this supple 3D embossing folder. And this is just some textured lines. This can add so much to different projects, and you'll see how I use that today. So I also pulled out 2 more stamp sets. Here's a card, has so many really cute sentiments, and I love the happy birthday. And since this is a birthday card, I thought it would be so cute to use that. I also pulled out the itty bitty birthdays because I may want to pull something from here to put in my card, just in case. Alright. I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to cut all my pieces and come back, and then I'll show you exactly how we're going to put this together. I'll be right back. Alright, we're back, and I've got all my pieces cut, and I'm ready to give you all of the wonderful dimensions. I also went ahead and I used a piece of the Rococo Rose, and I went ahead and cut out my peony. I did my embossing with my embossing folder, and look how beautiful that is. I don't know if you can, there we go. I think it's catching it. But this is gorgeous. So let me give you the dimensions. The first thing are card base. This is going to be 8.5. So what you're going to need to do is cut a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, like this piece. You're going to put it in your trimmer on the 11-inch side, and you're going to cut it at 5.5. So, I'm sorry, you're going to cut it at 4 1/4. And then you're going to score it at 3 inches, and then this is what you're going to have. So that is your card base. Then you're going to have your inside piece, and this is 4 by 5 1/4, and that is going to live inside right here. And I did run it through the embossing folder. So then you're going to need this piece of floral, or your designer series paper. And this is 4 by 2 3/4, and it is going to be put on right here. And then you're going to need the little inner piece, and this piece is 8.5 by 3, scored at 4 1/4. And you're going to remember that this piece is not going to open like your typical card. It's going to open backwards. So it will actually go into your piece like this. And then you're going to need a mat to mat on the inside of this piece. And this is going to be 2 3/4 by 4. And that's going to mat right there. But you're also going to need a piece to mat on the outside. And that's going to be the same measurements. So 2 3/4 by 4. And we're going to go ahead and put this all together, and this is the way this is going to look. Now we're also going to stamp a message here, and we're going to put this beautiful peony right up here in the corner. So I'll tell you what, let's lay this over here just for a minute, and I'm going to move this embossing folder because we're done with it. But remember I told you I wanted to use this subtle 3D embossing folder? And the reason I want to use it is I thought, how pretty would it be to have these lines on our peony. Now I did see another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator do this, and I thought it was brilliant. So I cannot take credit for this. This was actually something I saw on someone else's channel, but I'm stealing it because I thought it was brilliant. So I'm just going to close that up, and I'm going to run this through my embossing folder. And I'm going to do that over here offline. And I am using the new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And if you have not picked up this machine, you really need to do it. It is so smooth and so easy to use. And now, look at the texture on these peonies. Isn't that gorgeous? And it just makes the petals look so real. So I'm going to pull all of those pieces off, and now I'm going to show you how easy it is to assemble the peony. You're going to start off with your smaller piece, and if you notice, they all have a cut, and they all have a, the bottom, let me get it going the right way. Tobes. Okay, just like that. Now this piece is going to slide, so each piece slides into the next piece. Very easy and you're going to want to glue them as you go. I just wanted to make sure I was getting them going in the right direction before I put any glue down. But they all match right there on that bottom edge, which I think is brilliant. So when you finish, you have this beautiful peony, and you can play with and pull these pieces apart to give it a little extra dimension. So I'm going to pull it back apart, and I'm going to go back now and put my glue on it. So that's the last piece, the next to the last piece, and then this piece. Now for this one, all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to reveal this little edge right here. And I think the best way to put this together would probably be some liquid glue. I am going to get my little mat out here so we don't make a mess on our work surface. So if you do not have one of these silicone mats, you really need to get one. There's so many uses for this, and when it comes to glue, this thing is the bomb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a little bit of glue right down here. Just like that. And then I'm going to move the little piece down into that glue, lining everything up. Should line up perfect. And this is when you can start pulling these pieces and getting a little dimension. So now I'm going to grab this piece, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lay this in, but I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to run some liquid glue right like that. Once I get it, I'm going to just glue that in. And then our last piece is this one right here. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to run some liquid glue. Just like that. And then fit this right to that. And everything, like I said, lines up so you know you have it in the right place. So now the last thing we need to do is put the little stamen in. And I think it needs to go right about there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to peel these pieces down just to give it that added dimension that we want. I think this is going to go right there, so I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of glue, and then we're just going to slide that in right about there. I'm just using my bone folder to push that in to make sure the glue grabs it. Okay, that's the peony, and how easy was that? So now we need to do some little sprigs or something out of the green. So I'm going to grab another die set, and rather than doing the leaves that came with this one, I want something just a little more frilly. So I have in mind what I want. So let me go and grab that die, and we'll be right back. Alright, I got some die cutting done, and it looks like that we're ready to go ahead and put our card together. So I'm going to lay the flowers and the greenery up here just for a minute, and let's bring our card back. The one thing that we need to do, let's go ahead and start putting it together, and then once we get it to where we need it, we'll do our stamping. I'm going to use some of the Stampin Seal, and I always like to make sure that I get it started. And I wrote my measurements right here, so this is definitely going to be the back. I'm going to bring over my card base, and I'm going to use my same little trick that I always do when I'm laying my mats on. I'm going to use the edge of it as a guide, making sure I'm getting it centered, top, bottom, and side to side. That looks good. Now let's go ahead and put on our Designer Series paper, and this is going to go on right here. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to put a little adhesive. And if you get off a little bit, don't worry about it. You can just fold it over on itself. This stuff is super, super sticky. Again, I'm going to use my same technique. This just works for me. Okay, now I've got that down. I'm going to go ahead and put this piece on. But before I do that, I think what I want to do is, I think I'm going to go ahead and put it down, and then we'll do our mats. So remember that this is going to open this way. So you make sure you put your adhesive on the right side. And what helped me is I did write my measurements on the back, so I know that that's where my glue needs to go, or my adhesive. This is such a fun card to make. So now what we want to do is we want to center this inside. So get it about center, top, bottom, side to side. And then once you think you got it where you want it, go ahead and press it down. And now we have that. Alright, so we need to do some stamping now. And I think what I want in the inside is, and I'm going to use a couple of different sentiments. So one is going to be happy birthday to a friend that makes me smile. And I think I want to stamp a little something more than just the words. So I think I'm going to do happy birthday to a friend that makes me smile, and the prize peony. I think I want the smaller peony. And I think I want to stamp it right on the corner. But we're going to do, tell you what we're going to do, we're going to pull out our Stamparatus for this. This tool works so great when you're needing to line up stamps and you want perfect placement. So I'm going to take out that mat because that's for your photopolymer, and we are using cling stamps. So I am going to grab a magnet from the back. You only need one because these are super, super strong. And when I was showing this the other day, I told everybody, if you get this, be very careful with your magnets. I broke both of mine when I first got it. So they are super, super strong. I'm going to go ahead and put this up in the top corner. And I'm going to get my stamps on here where I want them. Just like that. And I'm going to check and make sure this is lining up where I want it. And that looks really good. And this right here I'm going to stamp in black. So I'm going to use our Memento Tuxedo Black. And if y'all remember me telling you to get the perfect placement, or to have something to hold your plate up, that the stamp case works perfect. And that was just a happy accident. I happened to have it laying here, and when I folded this over, it's like, wow, look, this really does work. I love that. Only one time and it worked. I love it. Okay, I'm going to get a cloth. And I'm going to use just a tiny bit of the Stampin' Mist. I'm just going to spray it on my cloth. And I'm just going to wipe over these stamps, just enough to get the ink off. This stuff cleans so good. Now I can peel these off and lay them over here. And now we can move our magnet. Make sure I don't have ink on my fingers. I usually have ink on one of my fingers, and I always transfer it to my piece. Okay, we're going to move our magnet. And we're going to put our magnet over on this side now. And let's move this to the center. Just like that. And now I want this to stamp something like that. Only with this one, I think, yeah, I'm going to stamp it in black because I'm going to use my markers and color this. Beautiful. Now, you see I got ink on that, but I'm not worried because a little bit of the Stampin' Blend and that wipes right off. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use that little wet corner and clean the stamp. And now I'm going to put my Stamparatus back together just by putting my plates back on like so. Never store your Stamparatus with your plates interlocked in them because it can warp or break your plates. So I just take mine out and I just store it just like this. And I love the place for the little magnets back here. Such a plus. I love having a parking place for my magnets. All right, so now we're going to get some Stampin' Blend markers. And let's see, which ones do we want to use? I'm thinking I'm going to go with that Rococo Rose, and this is the light. I'm going to do the light first, and all I want to do is just put some color into the flower. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just stay in your lines a little bit. Just like that. I think that's a petal. Now remember, when you are coloring with your Stampin' Blends, when it's wet, that's not your true color. So you want to let that dry a little bit before you come in with your next color. And look at that, isn't that pretty? I'm going to go ahead and grab the Just Jade, and I'm grabbing the lighter one, and I'm going to put a little color on the leaves. This is what's so wonderful with Stampin' Up. All of your products, all of your pieces coordinate. So this is going to coordinate very beautiful with the colors that I chose. So I'm going to grab the darker Just Jade and the darker Rococo Rose. Now I'm going to go in with the Rococo Rose, and I'm just going to put down some color right in the center. You can see nothing spectacular, just a little extra color, and I'm going to do the same thing with the dark on the leaf. Just a little. And then you're going to go back with your lighter color and you're going to blend that out. And what I like to do is I like to fan it a little bit. Just like that. And then just blend that out into the rest of the rose. Or the peony. So pretty. I am in love with these Stampin' Up! Alcohol markers. They do such a beautiful job. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. We're just going to even that out. Like that. And that is done. So now this is ready to go inside. So we're going to use a little bit of snail, and we're going to put that right about there. Not snail, I'm sorry, Stampin' Seal. So I am going to run a piece across there. And there. Oh, see how super sticky that is? I got my finger on it and it actually pulled the cardstock up. So this stuff is extremely, extremely tacky. So I am going to put my edge down just like so. And bring it over. Isn't that beautiful? So now we have to do our mat on the front. So I'm going to do, I want something really pretty in this corner. And remember that our peony is going to live right about here. And I think what I want to do before I stamp is get the placement of my peony, because I want some greenery. I think like that. And I think we're going to do happy birthday right there. I love that. Okay, so let's bring this over. And I think for this one, I'm just going to do a stamp block. I mean, this really stuck to my finger. Okay, I think I got it off. Alright, I'm going to pick up my happy birthday right there and grab my Memento ink. And let's get this right down in that bottom corner. Very pretty. Make sure I got ink on my fingers. I always get ink on me somewhere. My go-to little alcohol wipes that usually serves me very well to get sticky or ink off of my fingers. At least enough so I don't transfer it onto something. I am so loving the way this card is coming together. It is beautiful. So this is going to go ahead and go down on here. So let's use some Stampin Seal. And we're going to do the same thing. Making sure that I get it nice and even because this is the front. And you always want the front of your card to look beautiful. Alright, so now we can go ahead and decide exactly where we're going to put our peony. And I think right there is a good place. So let's lay down our greenery. And I want that to come down right over top of the happy birthday, but not covering it. Just like that. So I think I'm going to put down some liquid glue. That's usually my go-to for small pieces like this. And I'm just going to put a sprig of glue right there to catch that. And I'm going to lay that one in it as well. Beautiful. And then I think I want to pop my peony up. So let's get the Stampin Dimensionals. And I'm going to turn this little guy over. And we are going to put a good amount of our Stampin Dimensionals on the back. Because we don't want this little guy to come off of our card. So I may even go back and put a little bit of glue over top of these. Might be overkill, but hey, you don't want your card falling apart. Well, let me get my Take Your Pick tool. And we are going to wrangle our backers. You know what? I don't think I'm going to put any glue on these. These are usually pretty sticky, so I'm going to take my chance. And I am going to stick that right about there. And look how darling that birthday card is. Is that not gorgeous? I love the way that came together. I think it's fun. I think it's I think it just says everything that I'd want it to say. So I enjoyed making this card. I'm still playing with my little pieces here because you can get these bent out as much as you want just to give that dimension. I mean, and look at that. Is that not gorgeous? Such a beautiful peony, or peony. Some people say peony. Some people say peony. I will have a description. This will be on my blog post, a picture of it, as well as all of the products that I used to make this. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this will be a card. We always need birthday cards. So I'm hoping that this will be something that you would want to put in your list of cards to make. And you can print out, copy and paste, and print out the instructions. And this card turned out gorgeous. Thank y'all so much for tuning in and for being here. I had a couple little sprigs I didn't even use. You know what I'll do? I'll put these in with my dies and they will get used. Little pieces always come in handy. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the process of putting this card together, and I hope that it's something that you will do, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see just how lovely that card turned out. Everybody have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.